Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another installment of The Way It Is. And I'm your host, Luca with Remax Service First Realty. And I'm pleased to welcome and thankful for her gracious attendance, Karen Cross, who's the current CEO for the Kingston Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you for inviting me.
Well,
Looking forward to our chat.
Yes, me too. And so before we start, for those in the audience that don't know, Karen, you've been the CEO of the Chamber since 2019. Somewhere
Correct.
in 2019. And when I went to the site, you have, in your LinkedIn profile, you have a very impressive and extensive resume. So, and you spent 13 years with OLG. You taught at St. Lawrence for the hospitality program there, and then, but your early years, you cut your teeth in retail with Tabby and Reitman, I noticed, right? So, and sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's true. You really do cut your teeth in retail, in sales.
Well, and I would have to say, having gone through that now, certainly the chamber seems like, or the CEO of the chamber seems like a pretty good evolution to the rest of your story. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's true, and that's exactly when I look back upon my time in my career so far. It was like, okay, what do I want to do next? When my time wrapped up at OLG, as that part of the division was closed, it was like, where do I want to go now? So looking back on all my different career choices, and I thought this job opportunity was there, and I went, this fills all of the buckets on that list of things I'd like to do. So I have no idea what a Chamber of Commerce looks like from a nonprofit perspective, because I always worked for profit. So here's a new challenge, and let's look for a great legacy role. And this has been a fabulous opportunity.
Well, and so my first question was it the posting that brought you to Kingston, or was that something already in the works that you were going to relocate to Kingston?
I was already here in Kingston. When I worked for OLG, I was working for Eastern Ontario, so I covered a large region this way. And then the later years, I was working from our Toronto corporate office for OLG, so I was commuting back and forth.
Okay.
I was doing that telework before it was a thing.
You were ahead of the curve already.
Yeah, I was on that one.
So I know we had a sort of like an onboarding call there last week, and yes. I'm in the group, and I'm not ashamed to say it because I don't think I'm alone. Of probably a lot of Kingstonians, and then maybe those in the listening audience. They really probably don't know a lot about the Chamber of Commerce, right? Unless you're a member. So why don't we just start right at the basics, and just not to get into too detail, but tell us what's a Chamber of Commerce, what's its role in the community and for business, I guess.
Sure, I'd love to, because it is kind of a mystery of what a Chamber of Commerce is and what we do. And a lot of what folks think of the Chamber of Commerce is that we're a part or a division of the city of Kingston, which we aren't. We're an independent organization. We have a volunteer board of 16. We have a variety of committees that also are staffed by volunteers. And we are a business community organization that has 3 pillars. And those pillars are advocacy. So we're working with all 3 levels of government to help support whatever businesses' needs might be at any given time. The second part is education. So providing those opportunities for small business owners to be able to tap into a resource they may not be able to through their own organizations, being so they're smaller. And 3 is networking opportunities, how to get together, how to meet your peers, how to meet other people in other different walks of business, but can help complement your business. So those opportunities are really where we hone our skills.
Okay.
And we are completely funded. I guess that's the other part that people aren't clear about, is our funding is solely by membership. Our fees come from our membership base, and any events that we put on is another source of revenue for us.
Well, and I used to, when we could, I did golf in a couple of the chamber golf tournaments, and I did attend some of the dinners and things like that. So, and hopefully in once we get most of the province vaccinated, we'll be returning to those kinds of fundraising. I mean, I'm chair of the Kingston Symphony Association, so we've struggled with all of that as well.
So. It is a challenge.
Yeah. So I had this question further down the list, but I think now's the better time to ask it. So I guess since 2019, when before you arrived, and since you've arrived, and now, of course, through COVID, how are the membership numbers? How have they been? I guess.
And they're stable, which is a great thing to be able to say. We are stable. We have lost some members, but we've gained new members. It's interesting, the dynamics, it is the way it is with most chambers, on and off, but we have stabilized our membership base. We are a membership base of about 650 members, representing about 18,000 employees in total. So we want to grow that. We want to continue to grow that. And I think with some of the mechanisms we put in place through the pandemic, we've been able to streamline a lot of our processes, so we have more time to be able to connect with our member base. And it's just helping to grow it organically, which is fantastic. And now that we've launched the rapid testing distribution center here at the chamber, where we're giving kits away to free to small and medium-sized businesses, it's just ramping up that exposure to who it is and who we are and what we can do for members.
Well, wow, this is almost serendipitous, because that's literally the timing couldn't have been better. I'm a CBC junkie, and I listen to Ontario Morning every morning. And sure enough, they had the president of the Aurelia Chamber of Commerce, that they just got together with several other chambers. I can't remember exactly all of them, and they just got 100,000 of these rapid test kits, and they're going to start literally hand delivering them to their memberships. Yeah. So is that something you've already had in the works? And so it sounds like you've already had this going on then.
Yes, we were a little bit ahead of the curve, to go back to an earlier comment you made. We launched the website chamberscreening.ca on May 6th. For the KFN-LNA area. We're fortunate to have a couple of different press pieces on Global News. So at this point, we're over 400 businesses who have registered and are picking up already. We have a distribution is here Mondays through Thursdays. The main floor of our building at 299 Concession, the Alliance Alliance Service Building. Our landlord was very generous and has provided us main floor space, which is, we thank Brad every day. And the Rotary Club has stepped in, and they are manning the distribution of the kits to the membership. And you don't have to be a member. And we've now expanded the borders past KFN-LNA, because smaller chambers, like you heard on CBC this morning, they have to get together because they don't have the bandwidth to be able to do it. So we are taking it as any businesses in our region who want kits, sign up, log in, book an appointment.
That's awesome, and I will say a shout out to your landlord. I know him personally, and I can call him a friend, which is great. So that's great to hear. So I'm going to sort of not so much go off topic, but I'm going to take a bit of an offshoot here. So these rapid tests, I mean, if you to hear the fellow, and I don't remember his name, but the chair of the Aurelia Chamber, their CEO of the Aurelia Chamber, he said it seemed to be a need and it was sort of not so much perception based. That was part of it, right? Because they seem to get at the impression that it's about consumer confidence. It's about making sure that, business owners are confident in opening, obviously, but also giving that customer that extra level of confidence that when they start to return into these retail spaces or their storefronts or whatever businesses, they can do so safely, right? And with the confidence of being safe.
Mm-hmm. It's two sides, right? It's the employer and his employees or her employees, making sure the staff is safe, so that you're comfortable going to work every day, knowing that you're doing your self-assessment every day. So the staff is great. And on the flip side of it, absolutely about building confidence. Consumer confidence has to come back to get those consumers in the front door so that we can build back this economy. So it is a twofold, and it is what we're looking at doing right now so we can help generate that kind of awareness. Is we're looking at having decals created for those businesses who are part of the rapid testings to help, again, amplifying that message that this is an organization that is making sure that it's a safe environment for you to shop and participate in. It's a concept we have at the moment. We haven't launched it yet.
Right. No, fair enough. And so, we're into 14 months now, and obviously, we have all lived through it, the highs and the
Mhm.
lows of this thing. Tell us about some of the experiences with the membership, and even yourself with, some of the highs, I guess, and some of the lows. I mean, yeah, if you're
Yeah,
willing to share.
it's been a roller coaster for a lot of folks, and chamber included, because we are a small business as well, right? A nonprofit who relies on membership fees. So we've been going through the same kind of pains as our membership base has. And I think some of the highs is just the coming together, our networking opportunities. When this first happened in the beginning of March, within 2 weeks, we started launching twice a week coffee chats just for memberships to get together. And they were so well received. We ran those for almost 6 months solid, just for people to get together, to be able to connect and help support each other, which was brilliant. Then from there, our communication, we just need to continue to amplify the needs of businesses through all levels of government on what kind of subsidies were required. Because at the end of the day, loans are great, but they have to be paid back at the end of this, where a subsidy is going to help a little bit more upfront. So those are some of the things we continue to work with. We continue to work with businesses who are challenged to be able to figure out the paperwork, or where to go to get the paperwork, or where they should be looking for as a resource to help support their businesses. And it's continuing to this day. And there are challenges out there with the small business grant provided by the provincial government. The lags in getting the funds in people's bank accounts is horrific at this particular moment. We are arranging a meeting. The OCC is arranging a meeting with a couple of different stakeholders provincially through the provincial government, and we actually have a couple of our members will be sitting in on that round table to share the challenges and the frustrations. So those are some of the voices. Those are some of the good things that we can do for people because they're in such a dire situation. And I look at the silver linings for small businesses like the Chamber and others is it gives us an opportunity to look at our business and say, how can we change things to make things smoother, easier, automate things, make it more streamlined so they're more effective. So I think there's two sides of it.
No, and you know what? That's been a common theme throughout my podcasts. Obviously, I started this. This is episode 27, and actually we pre-recorded 28 on the weekend. But you come first, which is a good thing. But because I've had some friends and clients of mine who are small business owners here in Kingston, and the silver lining for sure out of the pandemic has taught the world how to sort of live in a with more technological advancements and streamline a lot of these processes, not only for small business, but for just in life in general, right? I mean,
Yes.
telehealth, all of those things, right? But certainly a lot of them lament, as a lot of people do, the murky waters of these grants and these loans and these subsidies and the bureaucracy that goes with them, because it was never a clear message, right?
No, communication was not clear from any level of government. So I think those are some of the challenges. And I think those are some of the reasons why a lot of our webinars right now are based around how to maneuver through the murky water to help understand for your particular business. We have a couple of great partners out there. MMP has been doing a lot of webinars for us along that line. So it's really keeping yourself informed, which is another great reason to be a member of the Chamber.
Yeah, no. So, and not to, I certainly don't want to forecast gloom and doom, but the real. We haven't really felt the fallout of this pandemic yet, because we're still in it, so to speak. Everybody's doing these initiatives and pivoting and everything, but we're coming on to now 15 months, and there's got to be a lot of businesses that are just wondering what happens next. I mean, is there a sense in your membership of those that are, because we know there's businesses that are surviving and thriving actually during this pandemic, and yet there's others that are on the other extreme. So if you can comment on any that you see.
There are both extremes for sure. There's some people who are thriving in this environment and others who are not thriving. And I think a lot of our businesses in Kingston are very resilient, and Kingstonians as a whole, as a citizenship, they have been very supportive of Shop Local. stay local, and that's been great. But there are a number of our members who are going to be a while coming back out of this. Tourism being one. The restaurateurs, the hospitality industry are really the hardest hit. But then I look at, they've been able to do some side takeout, right? Do takeout and that. But I look at our personal care, where it's the hairdressers, the salons. You can't get a curbside haircut or a curbside pedicure. It just doesn't work that way. So there's going to be some struggles. There's no question about that. I believe we're resilient, and I believe once we come through the other side of this, it's going to be, it'll be tough, but it'll be better for it. Those ones I've talked to, they've said, we've been able to do a few things differently so that when we go into our next time we get to open again, we'll be able to streamline things a little bit more. So maybe we can get a little bit more cost savings, but there are hard times ahead for sure.
Yeah. As far as, so for the chamber, there's no discrimination or in terms of an actual size of a business that can join, right? I mean, I know I've been approached in years past as an independent contract real estate agent, real estate broker to join. And in fact, I think I even was a member briefly in another lifetime, but and so now I'll have to shame myself on air and say that I'll have to revisit that again. But
we can talk afterwards, Luca.
Yeah. But I mean, there's the whole gamut, right? From businesses with literally hundreds of employees to those that are sole proprietorships, correct?
That's very true. We are largely small, medium-sized businesses. 85% of our membership base are 1 to 5 employees. And then we have our large employers like Empire Life with over 900 employees. So yes, there's very, very wide gaps there.
Mm. Now, and again, maybe this is more informative for those that are listening in case they'd never considered it, but are the membership rates the same for like an Empire Life versus, me or someone that has 2 employees, or is that an escalating scale? How does that work?
You're absolutely right, Luca. It is a scale. So employee for 1 to 5, which is our basic one, is $265 a year. And then it can be done monthly. So I think it works out to $22.90 a month for a small business to be a member of the chamber. There's many benefits to being a member, from our affinity programs to our member-to-member discounts. We just had 3 new folks join us who wanted to give away member-to-member discounts. We have things like Beauty Supply Outlet out in Gardner gives a discount to chamber members. From an affinity program, ESSO is like one of the ones that kind of blew me away when someone sent me the last report as to some of the savings some of our members get on a quarterly basis, like upwards of $5,000 to $6,000 in fuel savings in a quarter. Wow. Yeah. I mean, some of them have larger fleets, of course, but still. So there's a lot of different varieties of ways to save and to find those benefits, along with that networking opportunities too. There's a lot of our events and programming that is at no cost. It's part of your membership. Then there are the ones like you mentioned, our classic golf tournament, it's going to be running on July 19th. That's of course a paid event. Our Business Excellence Awards, which are happening September 30th. So if you have a business out there you want to nominate. No,
and my sources on the ground, my phone's been blowing up this afternoon because I've got some people that feel they're insiders, but apparently there's an announcement looming maybe as early as tomorrow about outdoor recreational activities opening up and stuff. So I'm an avid golfer. Yeah, and so the phone's been ablaze this afternoon with messages, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Yes. So. And I mean, and you touched on a really good point, and this certainly isn't intended to be, a promotion for the chamber, but I mean, it is what it is. Membership has its privileges, obviously, like in a lot of organizations, and I would have to firmly believe that, especially in a city like Kingston, that there's some members that wouldn't have even known other members existed or what businesses they operated, right, until they got connected through your organization.
Exactly. Chambers are an old standing mechanism in most cities. And what's interesting about our chamber is we are the oldest chamber in Ontario. We were established in 1841. So we are the oldest chamber. We're 180 years old this year. So it is a place where some folks actually automatically go to the Chamber of Commerce that they're going to be in the city that they're going to be looking at to look for who's a member. And maybe I'll stay at that hotel because I'm a member of that hotel or because they're a member of the chamber. So it has some kind of credibility that way for folks. But it's turning now that we're an opportunity for folks to be able to broadcast more, amplifying their messages through the directories, for example.
Yeah. It is, I mean, statistically, and I guess I'd have to do more research when I leave here. That's for another day maybe. But statistically, these small businesses, these 650 members, and as you said, the majority of them are the 1 to 5. They obviously serve they're an integral part of the community, and they generate revenues, both from a tax-based perspective, employment perspective. Can you comment on sort of how far-reaching that is? Or are there any statistics out there as far as that goes?
There are. I don't have them at my fingertips, but yes, I mean, our economy is built on small enterprise, and it's going to come back because of small enterprise and investment in small enterprise. And that's what grows our community. And that's where we're going to need to get back to is what is our growth strategy, our recovery strategy? It's like we're resilient right now, but we need to get into recovery. And what does that growth look like? And it's going to be it will be through small and medium-sized enterprises. It's going to be through those entrepreneurs who, as you said, they're going to hire new people. There's going to be different types of work out there. So that's one of the challenges we're going to face is the skills gap. Because maybe you were a bartender last week, but maybe this week, really the job opportunity is in construction.
Yeah.
So how do we get those folks skilled up?
Yeah, no, there was a snippet on the news there last night of the businesses that are reopening south of the border in the U.S. and it's a big gap in finding labor right now, and a lot of it, again, sometimes you got to put these things into context. They painted it with a pretty broad brush, saying that the majority of the workforce doesn't want to go back to work because they're too well taken care of vis-a-vis subsidies and stuff. I'm hard pressed to think that any subsidies the government has offered are enough to make someone want to stay not working in perpetuity, I would think. So, now are you or are there members of your board on any kind of task force with the city of Kingston and the mayor in terms of this recovery plan, or can you shed some insight into any of that if you can?
Yes, I do sit on the mayor's task force for recovery. I'm Kurt, Kingston Economic Recovery Team. So I do sit on those calls. I'm on a couple of subcommittees as well for the city, one on advocacy and funding. So there is a variety of committees that I'm on that directly relate to recovery. Also, what's important is that we've been spending, since the beginning, not more closely engaged with all of the business partners in the city, which is economic development, Kingston Tourism, Kingston Accommodation Partners, Kingston Downtown, all those different organizations. And now I spend more time with the United Way, working with Pavna on a couple of different areas, just things that I hadn't been that close to, and now we are very linked. We talk twice. At one point, we were talking twice a week. Now we're down to once every other week. And then we have a special communications call as well with KFNLNA and the city. Again, all those partners are working together very closely. And I think that's what's come out of this. One of the silver linings is we see the value in what that is. And none of us on any of these committees want to stop that practice. We want to continue as we go through. And continue on the back end of this.
Yeah, and that's good to hear. And I mean, I'm a Kingstonian, been here my entire life, and I know a lot of people, less so now for me, but I know a lot of people, when you say small business and you say the business community, everybody automatically go to the downtown core. And then that's where, forgetting that we now have a flourishing West End. I mean, I raised my kids in the West End of Kingston, spent my whole entire life as an adult in the West End of Kingston, grew up downtown though. But, so we tend to forget or compartmentalize, I guess, what we feel about business or what we think about small business in Kingston. And needless to say, I think the downtown Kingston, this is just my opinion, and you can certainly add yours. But, we've been fortunate where it's always been a welcoming downtown. It's always been well traveled or commuted, both by pedestrians and otherwise. And I would have to think that that's only going to just be more bullish coming out of COVID.
We would hope. I think once tourism comes back and we can have that travel piece and our borders open up again, because that's a big component of our downtown as well, is that American tourist who does visit our downtown core. But yes, I think there's positive recovery happening. And with the Love Kingston campaign, I think it only amplifies how beautiful our downtown core is. But to your earlier point, we really need to understand and remember that our city is just not downtown. We have a West End, we have an East End, as to your point, flourishing. And that's where we come in as a chamber, is to represent those organizations in those areas. And truly our largest part of our membership is in the Midtown to West. First, right. Yes, we have a lot of our members are also in the downtown core, but this is really where the growth is for us as a chamber, is to really support and energize those areas.
Yeah, no, and I mean the most majority of the development in Kingston has been, I can say that from a real estate perspective, has been in the West End. More so now in the East, it's starting to gain more traction, and certainly the advent of that new plaza on Highway 15 has, I think, been a tremendous boost to that entire community. The third crossing is just going to be a game changer entirely, right? I mean, just for circumnavigating the city now, it's just going to be. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with myself anymore. I didn't think I would ever see it in my lifetime, and now I'm eating my words, actually, to be honest with you. So,
yeah.
Well, listen, I guess maybe in closing, I'll just have you, not to put you on the spot or anything like that, but just offer whatever insights or anything you want to say to your membership, to the community as a whole, anything you want to offer or anything at this point. So.
First and foremost, I just want to thank our membership for their steadfastness of staying with us and appreciating all that they do for us. I'm only here because of them, so I thank them very much. I thank all of our volunteers who spend copious amount of hours helping to drive the stewardship of this organization and the community as a whole. I'm very grateful for all of the mayor's time he has given me, the MPP Ian Arthur, and our MP Mark Gerritsen, who are at the drop of a hat, they will help answer questions for all of our members as they're needed. So it is a wonderful community, and I'm so very thankful to have this role and thankful for the membership for letting me stay here and continue this work.
Well, and that's awesome, Karen, and I will thank you again for being a gracious guest and for your insights and helping us learn about the chamber and what's happening there. I think that was very good and informative, and hopefully maybe you'll see a small little spike in your membership or something after the podcast.
Well, maybe. So. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, you enjoy your long weekend, whatever that's going to look like, because we do have a long weekend. They seem to all blur together anymore, but you enjoy yourself, and hopefully we'll cross paths again soon.
So. Hopefully we will. Take care.
Okay.
Bye for now.